So I got a little more prep work to do, but I'm starting with the tenderloins here. So obviously this is on the interior of the animal. You got the spine running down the middle, and then flanking either side are these really, really high quality pieces of meat. And you can see by the striations here, it's just very, well, it's a reason they call it a tenderloin. This meat is super tender. I think a lot of people get intimidated by this cut because, yes, before it got to this point here, you do have a lot of the innards, let's say, that are left over either from the field dressing or just in general. So it looks a little gnarly, a little nasty in the beginning, but the sooner you get this all cleaned up, the better. And I'm telling you, this right here, both of these is comparable to the backstraps, which is basically your filet mignon. I highly recommend going after these cuts. It's well worth it, and once you try them, you'll understand why. Taking the last of the back strap off. Turn her around a little bit for you. She's looking a little lean right now, and that's good. So obviously we got that side already taken care of. You can see I actually did a pretty good job on this one. Got all the way down to the ribs right there. That's good. So now on this side, you got your spine. Again, you're going to use your spine to locate a lot of these cuts. That's going to be like your divider mark. So my first cut is always right down the spine. Right side, left side. That gives you your first cut for each side of the back strap. Now what you want to do is you want to be using a nice thin knife like this one, a boning and a fillet knife, because as you're going down slowly, you almost want to flex the blade of that knife onto the spine as you're cutting. That way you ensure you get as close to the bone as possible to get the most meat as possible. Now, by all means, I am not a professional butcher. I don't claim to be. I have been doing it for a while now, but this is definitely an art. But if there was one cut you really wanted to take your time at, besides the tenderloins, obviously your back straps here is something. Just take your time, really focus on what you're doing, because you want to get as much of this meat as possible. You know, this is the primo cut right here. So again, you're using your spine as a locator. Just make sure you get all the way down to the ribs. Good sharp knife for this cut. It's definitely recommended. It's recommended for any of this process, but you really need just a nice sharp blade, so you don't really have to pull or cut too hard. You just kind of keep tension on the meat, let the knife do the work. So as you start to get some weight hanging, you know, it gets a little bit easier because it naturally kind of wants to fall, so you're going to use gravity just to help you along. Again, just to take your time, get as much of the meat as possible. I mean, don't get worried though. If you end up leaving a tiny little chunk on there, it's not the end of the world at all. You just want to get as much as possible because it's just good eating. That's a nice chunk of meat there. Come up to the shoulder on this side. Go right around the shoulder blade. Right around the shoulder blade. How about that? That's your back strap right there. Boom. Throw it in the bin.